Hello and welcome to the Holy Hour Podcast. It's the bi-weekly All Cure podcast, and I'm Gavin. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Welcome for the first time. And boy, do we have a wonderful show for you guys today. If you've been following this show, you have noticed we've done numerous episodes, usually at the start of the year, on people covering Cure songs, and we like to do a little handful of Cure covers and see which ones appeal to you and why not. But something that we've yet to do, surprisingly, on this show, in all our episodes, we haven't done a feature on covers done by The Cure. So this evening, we're going to finally do it. We're going to sit down together and we're going to listen to some Cure covers. The band The Cure playing other people's songs. So, anyone that's been following the band for quite a while would probably join me on the side of saying might not be the strongest category. Of all the billion things we can praise The Cure for, all the millions of categories and criteria that we would die gladly on the hill of in support of The Cure, their powerful covers isn't usually in the top 10 at least. Not to say that they're all bad or anything. It's The Cure after all. But usually there's something weird about their Cure covers that don't quite make it into everybody's top list. And maybe after this evening we'll see why. Or maybe we'll take this as an opportunity to really focus on covers that The Cure or Robert Smith have done, and might change our mind a little bit. Maybe with a little bit of focus and returning to them, we'll see that some of them are pretty damn awesome, and we should give them another shot. Or maybe you're like, what are you talking about? That was awesome from the start. I knew it was awesome. So we'll just back your opinion up even further then. But there might even be people out there that didn't know that they covered some of these songs back in the day or whenever, and awareness is always good, right? So we're just going to go through a handful of them. We're going to look at studio recorded ones, and we'll talk about ones that they've done live as well. We will not cover snippets here and there of sound checks and such, because there has been ones noted where they're kind of just dicking around doing a sound trick or something, and they might do part of a cover, but let's not count that. So most of these, there should be at least some physical old-ass bootleg at least floating around out there. There's a couple exceptions that we'll talk about just for a second, but most of the ones we're going to look at are ones that are live that were covered way back in early days probably, and there's some kind of bootleg, or we have actual studio recordings of the full Cure, or just Robert Smith. Since there aren't that many of them, we'll include Robert's solo covers that he's done a few of throughout the years, and see what you guys think when we put it all out there and look at covers done by The Cure. What do you say? You in? You in? Cool. All right. Well, get yourself comfy. Get yourself a drink. It's actually kind of crazy when you start compiling all these, how few covers The Cure have recorded over the years, especially recordings, but even playing live out of 40-year career, 40-plus year at this point, career, you think there would be more, but really they're not. And I'm not really sure why that we don't really have a bigger demand even as listeners for covers. We don't really seem to get that excited with the idea of, like the Cure cover album. Why don't they just put that out or something? Nobody's ever requested that, I don't think. And I think it's because maybe one of the huge draws of The Cure is because they're such a personal band to all of us, lyrics in particular. You want to hear Robert say something from Robert, you don't really care to hear him sing other people's words, maybe. Even just the music, if they're interpreting something, just doesn't really have the same heartstrings that are pulled as, any Cure song if you knew it was coming from them. Or maybe just because, they are a really unique band in themselves in the way they sound and their approach to things, that even when they're covering cool artists and bands that we actually love and like the song before they even cover it, somehow it just never really has quite the same punch because, I don't know, it's something not as unique coming from The Cure, even though the most like mediocre, deepest of deep cuts are a B-side. We'd still probably choose that as fans over them covering a song we know and love. So it's a weird little thing that doesn't seem to apply to a lot of other bands I know that I like. I'd be up for covers for the most part. I'm pretty much down with that. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'd love to hear them do that. But for The Cure, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'd rather just hear a Cure song, I think, than trying to hear them interpret something. And I don't get it. I guess covers in general are just always kind of weird. We've talked about this a little on the people covering The Cure episodes where, it's hard to say that if it's ever even in the artist's mind that they're trying to top the original or anything. Covers are like 90% just for fun, always, even if they're doing it as a specific job for a specific tribute or something. It's always just something that the band can have a little fun with and do it in their own way, or you just play it close to the thing. But usually it's if a band or an artist is playing a cover, it is just out of fun. Even playing in the bands that I've played in or solo stuff, it's always been kind of educational purposes or for like training or, like that's cool when you're younger and you're playing a cover. A lot of the stuff I wrote were kind of stemmed off of playing a cover, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a cool chord progression or a cool little approach to how the song was written. Then you use that in your own song. But when you make it to that level, especially that The Cure made it to very quickly, it's just to give yourself a break maybe of doing your own songs, and you just want to have fun playing music. So a lot of times a cover fills that void very neatly, and you can kind of tell from The Cure's live covers, the very few of those that there are out there, they're all kind of goofy, unexpected songs that you would expect The Cure to play. You wouldn't really expect them, and I think that kind of takes the pressure off. You see that they're just having fun with it up there, and it's kind of might not even be a song that they particularly love or anything. It's just kind of a goofy, fun song, so they'll play it. And and then for recordings, it's all about that. Do you keep it strict to the original or do you change it up? And sometimes it's better to keep it safe and keep it close to the original. Sometimes that is like butchering it, and it's better to just get weird with it and do something different and try to interpret it a different way. So The Cure does a little all of that, but at the same time, it is quite odd that they don't have that many live or studio tracks. And I guess the most fun would be to kick it off with what we know that they have played live. So shall we begin? Let's do it. Let's start off with a bang. Do you want to touch me? Oh yeah. Gary Glitter. Oh no. Yes. Gary Glitter cover is actually their most played cover in their whole history. Wow. 46 plus times according to songlist.fm between 1980 and 85. So you can all rest assured that was all well before we realized what a total creep Gary Glitter is. And I was going to look into like a quick summary for you guys of all of his awfulness just to make sure we all knew that this wasn't one of those borderline, well, what perspective do you look at it from kind of cancellations. He's a piece of shit. So I'll save you a few minutes there and take my word for it. Don't think anyone's going to miss it too bad. I definitely won't. And we haven't had any sightings of it for quite a while now, so don't count on that one popping back anytime soon. Just like Gary Glitter. Alright, where do you go from there? How about a little Thin Lizzy up next with Don't Believe a Word. Yep, they assuming Thin Lizzy may be like some childhood sentimental value attached to Robert and the Boys for this one. I can't believe I forgot to tell my brother-in-law Chris about this one when we were talking a few episodes back. He went through a Thin Lizzy phase and was always playing Boys Are Back in Town. So if you're not familiar with them, that was their big hit. But countless others, and never really my kind of jam or era of music, actually, the 70s in general. I guess I like the bookends, stuff that carried over from the 60s, and then the late 70s stuff that stretched into more 80s territory. But for the most part, these 70s bands, I'll take a pass. But The Cure has played this about 6 times, according to setlist.fm, and even as late as 2002. And according to Lowell, at one point, he said he would credit Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy as being the first song that the Easy Cure ever officially played together. So there you go for your little trivia, your little Cure trivia. But, according to Lowell. All right, up next we have the sensational Alex Harvey and their song, The Faith Healer, which again has been played as late as 2002. And I still, again, with the 70s rock, still don't get the infatuation with Alex Harvey, but clearly it's something special to Robert, dear to his heart. But I'm still working on that one. Sorry, guys, but this is just a good, weird, fun one, so why not, right? It must be the big guitar riffs that Robert loves so much. So this one's a little more up my alley. Up next we got You Really Got Me by the Kinks. One's been played about 3 times maybe. There's a YouTube clip I found floating around that's attached to a 1985 Hand on the Door era bootleg. Again, while this is nothing exceptional, it's just good, sloppy fun, and can tell that the band's having a good time playing it. I do love the Kinks, though, so that helps me get on board a little bit more, just because, I don't know, I guess because they started in the 60s more, so they don't have the full-blown 70s factor for me anyway. But love me some Kinks. They have so many great eras, and I just remember being a kid and being blown away by making the connection that they were the same band that wrote all those amazing songs like You Really Got Me and Waterloo Sunset, 8 Man, Lola, Days, and then all the way into the 80s with Come Dancing. So some good shit in there. So why not let the Cure cut loose, do a little You Really Got Me. Alright, for the next one, we're back into the 70s madness, and this one we'll give him a free pass on. This is Slade, Merry Christmas, Everybody. And it was a seasonal finale at Wembley Arena in 1987 in particular. Hopefully this will be as close as we ever get to a Cure Christmas song, but more sloppy fun. Robert's caught up in the Christmas spirit, so we'll give him a pass, like we said. And I feel like live anything is kind of fair game too, and probably makes for a really fun experience for the audience and the band, to see one of these super rare Cure covers, even if it's not the most exceptional song that they're working with, but helps add to the mood and the fun. So, and what about you guys out there? Because there are pretty few and far between of these Cure cover moments. Did any of you guys out there catch a Cure show where they play a cover? I guess since some of those got played in 2002, it's a little more impossible for the later era fans to have caught some of those. So let us know if you've been lucky enough. It's kind of a dubious honor, but if you've been lucky enough to witness a Cure cover live, I have yet to do that. So, yeah, curious to hear how many of you guys have caught these. But here's more of the Christmas jam with Slade. And believe it or not, that wraps up our live portion. Before we do, though, we do have a few kind of sorta or honorable mentions. So before you officially call me out for missing some, here's a few little side notes that we can count. One is the full Cult Hero show, apparently, from 1980, the one original Cult Hero show that they played. Even though the two songs that they put out on the Cult Hero single, I'm a Cult Hero and I Dig You, is, those are originals. But the whole rest of the set was mostly covers, apparently. Covers by Detroit Spinners, David Cassidy, the Ronettes, Thin Lizzy, The Faces, Focus, Sweet, and of course, Gary Glitter. I'm sure there's probably some others sprinkled in there too if they're doing the full show. But it doesn't seem like there's a bootleg of that floating around. Not an easily accessible one anyway. But so some of you guys probably like, oh, I've got it. So let us know if we're missing any gems in there. But given that lineup, we'll see. But yeah, apparently that whole show was mostly covers. So good sloppy fun continues. And maybe a good point for a side note, I love that these live ones all leaned into fun, rowdy kind of covers, Like The Cure wasn't covering some super moody song ever live. If they do sprinkle one in, it tends to be some kind of fun or just rocking kind of song from his youth. So that's kind of cool, where he saves the emotional, passionate songs for his own and isn't getting up there trying to cover some sad ass song or anything. Some other honorable mentions. Apparently Suffragette City, the Bowie song, was played at the second Malice show in 76. So, no real footage of that. Along with Foxy Lady, though, and Wild Thing by the Trogs. And again, Lowell would say that he sang Trogs Wild Thing at that show, and it was played again in 1987, so maybe somebody can out there confirm. I'm pretty sure Lowell didn't sing that one, so Robert probably took over the singing duties for Wild Thing in 1987, which there should be a bootleg of that out there, so I just didn't have time to really dig that one out. But so that one probably got played, and it's probably pretty interesting, again fitting into the fun, rockin' cover kind of thing. Not a very passionate or emotional song by any means, but they do get some heavier emotions into 1997 at David Bowie's 50th birthday celebration. We start getting some variations on a cover playing live. This would be Robert solo joining Bowie on stage, Madison Square Garden, playing The Last Thing You Should Do and Quicksand. Joined, of course, by Reeves, too. This was a huge part of him getting to know Reeves better and working with Reeves, who would later play on Wrong Number and A Sign from God, and, of course, joining the band in the future. So we have a technical Robert Smith playing a live cover, but with the original artist on stage. Still counts, right?
Others see their targets, divine symmetry. Should I kiss the viper's fan, or herald out the death line? I'm sinking in the quicksand of my thoughts. I ain't got the power anymore.
And following in that vein, 2004, Robert Solo joined Placebo on stage at Wembley Arena, singing their tune, Without You I'm Nothing. And there's quite a few really shitty phone cam quality versions floating around there on YouTube, but you can also find a fairly decent just audio clip. And that's what this is from, so take a listen.
Instant correlation, sucks and breeze back lines. Take it by your side.
And there's a clip of them singing If Only Tonight We Could Sleep, but that's from a different show, I believe, and I don't know if they also covered Without You I'm Nothing at that one, or that even counts because that's not a cover. So for the sake of covers, we'll just focus on Without You I'm Nothing. And it was around 2004 when I have this slight fuzzy memory of Robert Smith maybe doing like an unplugged thing with some band named after a vegetable. I don't know. That's some multiverse shit that still needs getting sorted out. I don't think that really happened. So we'll move on, don't you think? All right, this might be the great segue here as we start to transition out of live covers into studio recorded covers. We have The Cure doing the classic Joy Division tune, Love Will Tear Us Apart, live. Perhaps this is their coolest cover of all, though, in my humble opinion. It was recorded backstage at Australia's Livid Festival for an on-air radio performance, and really stripped down, almost acoustic sounding. And it's really cool for what a quick live unofficial recording this was. This hasn't even officially ever been released by the band. It's just one of those leaks that have gotten out so widely that you kind of all have heard it, and it's always been around. So it's really cool. Robert's voice is just like fucking amazing on it. He really crushes it. The stripped down nature of it makes it a little less officially awesome, so it makes you wonder if they did record this in the studio almost in this style. That would be a really awesome cover, surprisingly, because usually if you take an already amazing song, you don't really want to fuck with it too much, you know? And if anything, it would just be kind of meh, like a lot of the covers we'll be talking about shortly kind of might fall in that category. But this really could have been something awesome if they ever do put out a Joy Division tribute album. Maybe this would be a cool one for The Cure to revisit, because something about it really does get captured in a very Cure-esque way while still doing a classic song that we all know and love.
Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again.
All right, as we predicted, we are now heading into studio recorded Cure cover songs. And these are a little easier to confirm and lock down, as they were an actual thing that was out there, purchased or streamed or however. Well, almost anyway. Right off the bat here, let's kick it off with those elusive Hansa session covers that have never seen the light of day. And it sounds like both parties are totally happy with that happening. Never hearing the Beatles, I Saw Her Standing There, Bowie, Rebel Rebel, I Fought the Law, all kinds of great covers that they wanted the Cure to do in those early days. And Cure was like, I don't know, we got a lot of good original songs, maybe we should record those. As the legends go on, it just didn't work out. So they were relieved of their contract, but still had their songs, so that was good. But we'll perhaps never hear those covers. So, or have we? I don't know. Any of you guys out there? I don't think I've ever heard any of those. Very early, probably terrible covers that they wanted them to do and be the new hit teen pop sensation band. Instead, if we're going to want to hear an official Cure song cover, we're going to have to wait to their debut album, Three Imaginary Boys. And they got us a nice shiny cover of Foxy Lady, the Jimi Hendrix cover. There's a lot of dubious awards that go to this one. The only official Cure song not sung by Robert Smith on a recording. What do you say? Is that true? I believe so. Michael Dempsey sings Foxy Lady. Not sure if Michael sang any other stuff with his other projects either. That might be worth looking into. But yeah, the only official non-Robert Smith vocal on a Cure song on an official Cure album. And while we're talking official Cure stuff, this is the only cover on an official Cure album ever. So, tried to do... It seems crazy that they wouldn't have another cover somewhere on an actual album. And I don't think they do. So, call me out on that. I would love to be like, oh, yeah. But I don't think there is. So, yeah, pretty cool. They've also played this about 36 times live, mostly in those early days. But also up to about 2011 for the Reflection shows. So, pretty cool that they've played it that many times with Robert on the vocals. It seems high, some of those with the setlist.fm too. I believe there's versions like in Paris. Doesn't he play like the little opening Foxy Lady riff at the end of 100 Years or something like that? No one setlist.fm. They're probably counting that as one of the 36. But yeah, numerous times live though, especially in those early days. So pretty funny. Foxy Lady.
I made up my mind. I'm tired of waiting on my baby. You got to be on man.
It would prove to be quite a while till we would get another Cure studio cover. In fact, it'd be like 10 years. And while recorded in 1989, we still wouldn't even really hear this song until the Disintegration Deluxe. Is that right? Pirate Ships, written by Wendy Waldman and later recorded by Judy Collins, a folk number of sorts. And I guess we wouldn't really hear it until Deluxe Edition came out of Disintegration. But this song was recorded 89 initially for the Rubaiyat Elektra 40th Anniversary Tribute compilation that came out in 1990. It was the premise for it was going to be current Elektra artists covering past Elektra artists on this album, and Robert chose pirate ships, and you could see why they weren't totally happy with that idea, because this would be the first thing people would hear after Disintegration at this point. So come out blazing with pirate ships. You can see how they probably pushed him to go in a different direction. So it was a weird compilation. I remember getting it really early on tape and being really excited because it was a new Cure song on there. And we would get Hello I Love You, their cover of the Doors song. But before we jump into the Doors, just to touch back on Pirate Ships, since chronologically this is when it was recorded. It's really cool. It's a really kind of dreamy, weird Cure song that matches the bonus tracks of Disintegration much better. Has like a harmonium or accordion kind of thing going, and ocean sounds through the whole thing. And again, just another low, beautiful vocal performance from Robert on this one. And just really flows along, painting the picture and the mood of this tune perfectly. And it was included in the extra songs they'd play in the Disintegration live Sydney shows for the anniversary. So that's pretty rad. But yeah, as we segue into what actually was on that Elektra compilation, Hello, I Love You by the Doors. So the Doors were an Elektra band, and Robert, although admits he wasn't a huge Doors fan, never been much of a Doors fan, he liked this song because it kind of nicks the Kinks. The Girl, You Really Got Me riff. So I hadn't really made that connection before, but yeah, it does a little bit. And surprisingly a cool cover too on this one. When you listen back to it now, it's one I've kind of just put as the meh factor in the later years, but then re-listening to this, it's pretty cool. They did 2 versions or 3 versions for this actually, and it has a lot of good energy. It's fun and it rocks, so it's pretty cool. They do like a normal version, and then they did like a trippy psychedelic mix version, and then a really fast 10-second punky version of it. So pretty cool. And like I said, you could tell they would have been more thrilled to put this on there when people were hot on The Cure in 1990, first song after Disintegration. And Robert says they jokingly, I think, sent them the 10-second punky version when they were asked what their contribution to the tribute album was, and they're like, what? This is it? Sped up super fast version of the chorus in 10 seconds. I think the trippy version's kind of cool. It's kind of how Cure does a lot of their covers. It's either slow it down and do it more moody, or play it pretty straight as a cool rock song. This one almost works, but they do have like a trumpet kind of thing going in the trippy one that kind of ruins it for me. But the rock one just has so much energy and feels so much cooler, I think. Footage of them messing around with the chords I vaguely remember too, during the Pictures of You behind the scenes video shoot stuff when they're sitting on the bus and stuff. I believe they're hanging out, probably getting ready to record this song. So pretty cool. That just totally popped into my brain right now, so you might want to fact check me on that one. But I think it's on the Picture Show VHS when they had the extra long behind the scenes of Pictures of You video shoot. Anyway, all these are found on Join the Dots, like most of them on this run now of Cure covers can be found on the B-Sides collection of Join the Dots. If for any reason some of you guys out there haven't checked out that box set of B-Sides and rarities, stop this immediately and go listen to the entire thing. There's also a cool rough quality version of them performing this live on Jonathan Ross's show in 1991 that's on YouTube. And it's pretty cool. The quality kind of sucks, so if you can find a better quality version out there, it's good. But just kind of rare and weird to see them doing this live. Purple Haze, we're back to Jimi Hendrix. It's only been, 2 other covers since we've backed around to Jimi Hendrix again for 1993's tribute Stone Free. 2 versions again, slow trippy version and a full-on rock one. The slow one actually makes the tribute album this time, and the more standard rock one wouldn't appear until Join the Dots got released. So another one that came during a drought after we got Show in Paris. This would begin the very dark 4-year period between Wish and Wild Mood Swings, where all we had were these compilation songs to really quench the thirst for more Cure. And this one definitely didn't quench as well as Burn, but you know, I remember being super excited to track down the stone-free Jimi Hendrix tribute album, something totally normally outside of anything I would have a desire to get. But it was good, and I remember thirst being quenched for a short while, but then it kind of fell into the meh category for many years. Once again, re-listening to this, there is something there that's pretty sweet and cool with this, and the trippy version and the rock version and all that good stuff. So it's pretty cool, and I'm glad it exists. But yep, maybe I'm just thirsty again for something. So maybe it's re-quenching just a short little moment of Cure thirst. Coming up next, we would have Young Americans, a David Bowie cover came out in 95 for the XFM 104.9 compilation, which I believe it was only released on until 2004's Join the Dots again, making it a fairly hard track to hear in the late 90s. This one I didn't catch right away. I wouldn't hear it until about 98 maybe, when I bummed one of those Italian bootlegs off of a friend, and they did where they throw a few little extra, rarities at the end of a bootleg, and this was one of them. I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? And it was totally weird and blew my mind. And I have to admit, I didn't even know the Bowie song, so it was extra weird. I knew the riff from Reality Bites, the movie, which it turns out that World Party sampled that Young Americans little piano part in the beginning, and that's what I recognized it from. I was like, oh shit, that's that song from Reality Bites, the Ethan Hawke Winona Ryder movie. So I knew it from that, and then went back, of course, and later tracked it down as a Bowie cover. But yeah, it's I remember just being like, this is weird, but it warmed me up for Wild Mood Swings maybe. But not a great song even by Bowie's catalog. I think it's fun and kind of, it's cool to hear Robert cover Bowie anytime, I think, but at the same time, it's just nothing really that great. He changes President Nixon to President Clinton, because it was that time, and that seems appropriate. But on top of that, I don't know. What do you think?
The breadwinner begs at the bathroom floor. Live with just these 20 years to have to die for the 50 more.
In 1998, so after Wild Mood Swings, pre-Blood Flowers, we would get World in My Eyes, a Depeche Mode cover for the tribute for the masses. It's a nice cover. Again, this one just kind of doesn't really blow anything out of the water. It's just cool to hear Robert sing a Depeche Mode song, an awesome Depeche Mode song too. And but once you kind of get over that, it doesn't really add anything new to the song, in my opinion. It seems like it should work. It's a great song, two great bands. Sometimes, I don't know, it's just, pleasant to hear Robert singing a cool song at least. But again, didn't really quench that 4-year gap very much. Even though it's credited as a Cure cover, this kind of feels like it was just Robert at this point. Who knows? Maybe he had the whole crew in there at various points, but it feels very Cure remixy, torn down. Robert putting the delay on his vocals and doing the kind of electronic loops. But if you remember, before Blood Flowers, there was a lot of talk of the initial approach to the next album was going to be very sequencer and synth heavy. He was kind of going for that, but then ended up scrapping the idea when he went into the full Blood Flowers theme. So maybe this was a good little experiment to see if that route was worth going. So very cool, just mostly in the sense that it's a great song.
Take you to the highest mountain, to the depths of the deepest sea. We won't need a map, believe me.
Pretty good chunk of time till the next one, when we would get Love, the John Lennon classic, in 2005. Cool side note on this one, it was actually co-produced by Mike Hedges again, working with their old producer from the early days, Mike Hedges. This was for Instant Karma, Amnesty International charity album, Make Some Noise campaign, and it was released digitally only, so no CD single or anything like that floating around or on CD of the whole thing. Not terribly exciting again, but cool to hear him do a classic song, and one of those cases where if you love The Cure and you love the song Love and you love John Lennon, you're probably going to love the song, but if you're just kind of meh in any of those categories, then it's probably not going to make you like John Lennon's solo stuff more. If you're a Cure fan, and it's not going to make you like the Cure more if you're just a John Lennon solo fan. But if you like all those, then I think you're down with it. I'm pretty down with it, but I could see how it's not really anything groundbreaking either. Just nice to hear him do a cool song once again. The drums are actually really cool in this one. Listening back to it this time, it felt like Jason still had a little of that mojo that he had gotten worked up with Ross Robinson over the 2004 album. So pretty cool and definitely worth checking out. Following this bad boy, we had To Love Somebody, a Bee Gees cover that Robert would do solo with Billy Corgan. I believe it was for his solo album, Future Embrace, in 2007. I tried to find it on streaming and wasn't able to find it on Apple Streaming. Maybe I didn't even find the whole damn album, so I might be getting that wrong. I don't really know Billy's solo catalog very well, but I have an MP3 of this. It says it was for that album. Not much to go crazy about here either. Luckily, this one is one of the 2 Bee Gees songs that I don't mind. So it's a pretty cool song, but yeah. So it could have gone horribly wrong if they picked one of the other songs. So at least they picked one of the cool, kind of sentimental, sweet songs. Again, if you really love Billy Corgan and the Smashing Pumpkins, you'll probably dig this, but otherwise, not really the shining cover moment that we were looking for.
It's
2010 brought us another Robert Smith cover. This time he did Very Good Advice for the Almost Alice soundtrack, a Tim Burton film, and take on Alice in Wonderland. It's an old, weird, classic Disney song, and so it's hard to get upset with that. And it's just fun. It's a little weird little ditty with Robert being goofy on it.
Something strange begin. Well, I went along my merry way, and I never stopped to reason. I should have known there'd be a price to pay. So
He's always had a weird thing for classic Disney and Alice in Wonderland, it seems, so I'm sure the song is one of his personal favorites, and I remember, again, being super excited when this came out, as it was during, 2 years after 413 Dream, kind of scratching my head at what the hell he was going for with this, but again, being happy to slightly quench that thirst for something new, assuming it would only be about maybe 2 more years before we get the next Cure album, and we're still waiting. But oh well, must remain patient. That is very good advice. Witchcraft would be another weird one that would follow up in 2011, doing the Sinatra song, another Tim Burton film cover for Frankenweenie. I felt this came out right after Very Good Advice, but I guess it was about a year later. So yeah, this one felt even less fulfilling as far as the quench that I've been babbling about. There's probably 20 hard drives full of shit like this at Robert's home studio, just getting trashed on a Friday night and recording some weird version of a Sinatra song or something that he can croon on, and probably starts it at like 8 p.m. and does the final mix and master by sunrise. Saves it till he forgets it exists. So I guess we should just be fortunate and feel happy that this made it out into the world somehow. Although it's fairly hard to track down, I think. It's not on Apple streaming, so anybody that does Spotify out there, see if it's on yours, because I don't think it's on Apple streaming anymore. So a lot of these are oddly missing. So I don't know if that's for a reason or not. But Frank and Weenie, Witchcraft.
'Cause it's witchcraft, wicked witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo,
Then we get a real nice rebound with Not in Love.
I saw your picture hanging on the back of my door.
A odd combo here because we got a cover with a current band covering an old 80s original song, originally recorded by Platinum Blonde in 1983, Not in Love. So it's a what do you call it, a collaboration and a cover in one. So this is what threw me off way early on. I think episode like 4 or something, I did a combo of rarities, compilations, and covers and collaborations. Anything that started with C, I think. But this is a beautiful song, really fucking cool. I love this one. It's one that I always throw on a mix for somebody if they're a little less familiar with anything late Cure era, because they might not have caught this one. This is really just A++ kind of caliber for me. Just the modernizing of a cool 80s song is a good approach, and they nail that with Crystal Castles doing the back music, and Robert's vocals are just fucking top form.
Fascination is, here we go again. Oh, 'cause it's cold outside. When you're coming home, 'cause it's hot inside. Isn't that in love? I'm not in love. I'm not in love.
I believe around here, 2011 is when Robert put out a song for the John Martin tribute album. Johnny Boy would love this, and he's covering Small Hours. John Martin, I'm not super familiar with. A British guitarist and singer. It seems like he had a long career of tunes that blurred the lines between folk, jazz, blues, and rock, which probably explains why I'm not too familiar with him. But seemed loved and had a large body of work, and seems like he broke a lot of cool ground with production techniques and experimental guitar work, so it makes sense that Robert would be a fan. And this is a pretty cool tune. Again, nothing that's going to blow your socks off, but in particular if you are into John Martin and just hearing Robert do something slightly different. Again, this one isn't on streaming for Apple. Is it on your Spotify? Let me know.
And fly away, going out for another way. Any day is dawn, gonna carry on. Keep on loving while your love is strong. Keep on loving till your love is gone. Oh, wait. We're very, very lovely, gonna take you home. Say you'll be my roomie, but I just don't care, 'cause I love you so. Just love you so. Keep on loving till
Now we get back to some pure pop love for me anyway, and we get the Cure covering Hello Goodbye, the classic Beatles song.
you say yes, I say no. You say stop, and I say go, go, go. Oh no.
For a Paul McCartney tribute album, The Art of McCartney, that came out in 2014. Paul's son, James, even plays with the Cure. This is a full Cure one. We're back to an actual band doing the cover. And it's cool. It works a lot better than the John Lennon one, Love, that was mentioned earlier. This one has a lot more energy to it, and you can feel the fun in the room maybe just by having James in there with them. But while it's still, nothing revolutionary or changing it up or anything, It's just cool to hear them sing a classic Beatles tune and do it in a very straight, kind of true to form way. So that one is on streaming, but there was a bonus like disc or something, even though it's like 2 discs worth. They also did Sea Moon, a Paul McCartney solo song. And I'm not sure where the hell you can track that down now, because I don't think that's on streaming or anything, but it's out there, and it's a cool, weird one. It's an odd song anyway. Definitely not one of McCartney's best in my opinion, but it's fun just to hear him do a weird solo McCartney tune. There's a cool video that most of you guys have probably seen of them doing Hello Goodbye in the studio with James McCartney. So it really captures everything, and should definitely check that one out of them playing live in video. And this brings us to our most recent and sadly final Cure cover to date. There Is a Girl in the Corner, the Twilight Sad song. As we all know, Cure really got into Twilight Sad and are still good buds with them. And this was a wonderful cover that they did for a 7-inch flip side, where one side was Twilight Sad and the other side was Robert solo covering There's a Girl in the Corner, one of Twilight Sad's best tunes in my opinion, and they do it great. I think he crushes it. This is up there with the Crystal Castles one, where I think it's an awesome vocal performance. The music is spot on. They stick pretty close to the original, but still giving it enough of that authentic Robert flair, and feels like it, could hang with the coolest of Cure songs. And definitely one worth checking out if you've slept on any of these covers, just out of laziness or just thinking they wouldn't be that great. This one really does stand out, I feel like, and is a cool tune. So should be out there somewhere. I didn't check if that one was on streaming or not, but should be fairly easy to track down, at least on YouTube or something. So there you go. That was the last cover to date. There are other collabs out there, so we'll probably do an episode like this at some point just to separate the collaborations. We've done them in pieces throughout, but there was a good wave of collabs in fairly recent years with the Gorillaz one and Churches and such. But we wanted to stick just to the covers on this one, so that's what we did.
We're not coming back from this.
But before we conclude our ride here through Coverville, I thought I'd throw it out to you guys. Which one of these do you think is the best? Which ones really hit better than others? Do you have a favorite? If I had to choose, I guess I would go with that Joy Division cover of Love Will Tear Us Apart. Wish it'd been a little more polished up. I would like to hear them do a full-on production in the studio cover of that, but still kind of in that vein, maybe bolt the band a little more full throttle, but Robert still keeps it in that kind of chill register would be nice. As far as ones that they did do, I really like, these later ones. There's a Girl in the Corner and Crystal Castles, Not in Love. Pirate Ships is fucking great. I really love that cover. It's nice just to hear folky Robert, nice and chill and mellow vibes Robert. So tell us your favorites out there, and I got a sub question for you too before we close out. So with all these covers in perspective, rounded up and laid out in front of us, is there an artist that you wish the Cure would cover or would like to see them cover, or a specific song even that you would like to hear the Cure cover? Be curious, because sometimes it's like those all-star teams or like super groups. If you get the best of the best all together, sometimes it's not that great. So sometimes it has to be kind of a weird combo to really work best. Who do you think that the Cure would really be able to cover well, and which song they could really accent and add their wonderful Cure flavor to? As I ponder the question, I'd like to hear them cover Neil Young. Actually, would be cool, because He has gone on the record of being a Neil Young fan, so it wouldn't be too torturous for him, hopefully. But something like Harvest Moon or Barstool Blues or something would be pretty awesome. So, and he's got that nice high voice that Robert could sing along with and make it kind of a cool, weird variation, but still a good song. Or maybe something with like female vocals, like a Sugar Cube song or something would be kind of cool. She's always had a bit of a Robert vibe to her anyway, Bjork. So that would be kind of cool to hear him do like one of those early classic Sugar Cube songs like Motor Crash or Birthday would be pretty rad. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What would be some songs that Robert and or The Cure could really crank out and do something awesome with? On top of that, all I can do is thank you guys for listening. Sorry, it's just me going through the list here. Sometimes it's just how we do it. And thank you to Curipedia out there by Simon Price and the FAQ Cure book by Christian Gerard for being just kind of good outlines for these. Both those books do a great job of kind of wrangling covers in particular and having it all as one source that I can kind of look at and then stem out into the join the dots liner notes. And bound to have missed some of these covers out there, especially from those early bootlegs. So yes, let me know if there's one that I totally missed. And I made a video playlist on YouTube of most of these. I tried to keep them all live versions for the video playlist. So a lot of them actually have footage. Some of it's not that great quality, but they actually do have footage. Other ones, it is just a still image in the live version of the song, especially those early ones. So go check it out. If you have Apple streaming, I made a playlist of the ones that were available on there. I'll also try to put that link somewhere, but if you don't find it, feel free to drop me a line on social media or somewhere. I can send you the link to the Apple playlist of Cure covers. It's pretty easy to compile yourself, but if you want to just have an easy click of a button, I'll send it to you guys. You know, we're all cool like that. And on top of that, let's just wrap it on up until next time. What do you say? Let's end this thing with a great big thank you to our Patreon family. Donna, Craig, Jeff Hilton, Jeff Cortland Jones, Sue, Ben, John, Alan, Allison, Dion, Amicio, Matt, Danny, Coulter, Matt Ford, Tom Johnson, Tom Burns, Letty, John Roberts, Francisco, Jason, Bunny Lake, Amber, Nicholas, Arno, Chad, Shirley, Jason Hall, and of course Scott Kruger, co-host of the Sarlacc Digest, the best Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, which airs every Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube or Facebook, or catch the replays anywhere you get your podcast. No matter what level Star Wars fan you are, you're going to find and love something about this show. So check out the crew over there Wednesday nights on YouTube. Tanya wants to spread awareness for 988lifeline.org, suicide and crisis hotline with over 200 crisis call centers located all over the U.S., available 24/7, offering free and confidential support for people in distress and numerous prevention and crisis resources. So call or chat online if you or anyone you know is in need of help. Tim is part of New Waterloo, an independent hospitality development, design, and management company that owns and operates hotels and restaurants all over these fine United States. And find their many locations at newwaterloo.com. Dana is a freelance animation, illustration, motion graphics designer, currently open to new projects and your commissions, so check out her amazing work at graphics.tv. That's graphics with an X.tv if you are looking for someone to help spruce up your projects. And Kate over at CureThreads.com has a vast catalog of original Cure-inspired designs on a wide range of products, just waiting for you to come check them out. She also runs Cure Arts Collab on Instagram, so go follow that page. It compiles Cure fan art, like from Cure fans like you. So go follow the page, keep your eye out for the next theme that pops up, and be a part of the action. Lisa recommends that you check out Dickens up in Calgary, Canada, if you want to catch a great show or an event. So go see their full listing of upcoming shows at dickensyyc.com. And Jessica recommends that you check out Club Nevermore down in Little Rock, Arkansas. If you want to get a full goth experience and a great night out on the town, go to clubnevermore.com to get all the details of upcoming events. And don't forget Chaz's other podcast, The Excommunication Station, where he, Donovan, and Chrissy get to the bottom of all things wacky, mind-blowing, hilarious, and ridiculous, and downright frightening going on behind the evangelical church. New episodes come out weekly. And if you want to be a part of this wonderful Patreon team, head on over to patreon.com/theholyhour and check it out. You're always welcome to email me anything in response to the show or upcoming shows, thoughts, origin stories, anything like that. So you can always email me at gavinconner@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out our new merch website. It's linked in all our social medias. We got all kinds of cool t-shirts and mugs and everything you would want over there. Stickers, and with our logo, we got a couple Cure-related designs over there. A Bunny Lake style design. So all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out. The official merch shop. So please subscribe and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that wonderful social media business, so no new episodes slip by you. We have a wonderful tattoos episode coming up next. Thanks in advance to everybody that's contributed already and sent in wonderful stories and pictures of your tattoos. Can't wait to share them all with you guys. They are looking great. So something I can't believe we haven't done yet. So we're going to be featuring your Cure tattoos. Thanks for listening. Go listen to some Cure covers, and we'll catch you next time. Talk hard.